We challenged our listeners to come up with the best Mariners trade ideas they could think of. Here's what they cooked up. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Friday, November 14th, 2025. This is Tony Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. It's Fan Fiction Friday, the show where you submit your Mariners trade ideas and we grade them on the 20/80 scale based on creativity, uniqueness, and if they make sense for both clubs. Before we get into your trades, I want to shout out our title sponsor today, FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. All right, let's get into your trades. JJ is going to kick us off here with a deal with the Minnesota Twins. It's a big one. Mariners are getting Byron Buxton, or as he writes here, Brian Buxton, Royce Lewis, and Justin Topa. They're all going to Seattle for Luke Raley, Kade Anderson, Las Montes, Peete, Tyler Cleveland. That is a lot to digest.
On the realism scale, it's way down there.
Yeah.
Now we're only talking about Byron Buxton today, and this, trade is only on the list because Buxton has been a hot topic for the last 24-ish hours or so, 36 hours. All thanks to a probably not legit source that says Buxton has been pruning down his no trade teams and all that, and he's open to a trade. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. We know that last summer he said he wasn't going to waive his no trade clause. But we'll see. Things can change. And if the Twins are going to continue to sell, maybe he changes his mind. So on the off chance that Byron Buxton is available, there's a couple questions here. A, should the Mariners be interested? Yes, they should be. He's a very good hitter who strikes out some, but he's still a freaky athlete, needs to DH more than ideal, just because you're trying to protect him from his injury history. But when he does play the field, he's going to be elite out there in the outfield, and he's a really good hitter, really good base runner as well. So, yes, he's a very good player, and the contract is quite reasonable. I think he's got, 3 years, $45 million left?
Yeah, it's 15.1 per.
Yeah, that's incredible value for the guy. So yes, if Byron Buxton were to be made available and he was willing to waive his no trade clause to come to Seattle, yes, the Mariners should be interested. Royce Lewis, we've talked about a little bit. He's a guy, he also can't stay healthy. It sounds like the Twins organization may just be ready to move on from him in general. And Topa is, from a Twins perspective, he's a throw-in. They don't care. If they're trading Byron Buxton, they certainly don't care about Justin Topa. But from a Mariners perspective, like if you break down this specific trade, I mean, what is it? Is it Kade Anderson and Peete for Byron Buxton? And then, I guess it's Kade Anderson and Las Montes for Byron Buxton.
Yeah. And
then it's kind of Tyler Cleveland for Justin Topa. And then Peete and Luke Raley for Royce Lewis, if you kind of want to break it down that way. Mm-hmm. I don't know that the Mariners should do this, and I don't know that the Twins would do this. I don't know if either side would accept this, because if you're the Mariners, well, Byron Buxton is awesome. Kade Anderson is a lot to give up for a guy who might only play, and it might be smart to only assume he's going to play 100 games a year for the next 3 years. And that's if everything goes pretty darn well. 100 games seems to be a difficult spot for Buxton to get to most years. So,
last year was 102. This year 126.
Yeah, and that.
Now, to be fair, he was worth 8.7 wins by by FanGraph standards over those 2 years. But
very good player, no question about it. Anderson's a lot to give up for a player with that big of a risk. Las Montes, whatever. I don't consider him to be in the top tier Mariner prospects. I know I'm probably an outsider for that perspective, but whatever, don't care. I don't know. This is a deal that ultimately I don't know if either side would do this. So it's kind of a difficult deal, but I think ultimately the reason this grade is going to be dragged down quite a bit is I just don't view this as realistic really at all.
Yeah, it's not realistic at all. It's fun. It's fun to kind of break down. would I trade Kade Anderson and Las Montes for Byron Buxton? That's really the crux of this, right?
Yeah.
I could talk myself into it.
I would rather give up like Michael Arroyo and Harry Ford in addition to Las Montes than give up Kade Anderson. Mostly because I think Kade Anderson is going to be in the Mariners rotation in 2027, and it's going to be because he is there to replace Gilbert or Kirby because they're going to trade one of them.
Sure. Yeah. No, Anderson is very important to how this is all going to work down the road.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably just going to give this like a 40, 45.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Like, it's fun. Buxton is a name we definitely should talk about, especially if he is, open to a trade and all that. And we get like confirmed information that he's like open to a trade and all that. But the realism just isn't here. The valuation is really tough to get. And I don't see any player that's going to be traded this winter that the Mariners would trade Kade Anderson for. I think he is too important to what they want to do in 2027 and beyond that they would rather, overpay with, top prospects than give up Kade Anderson.
Maybe. And I mean, he was just such a gift that fell in their laps too.
Yep.
So
he was their number one player by a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think keeping Anderson also allows you to have the conversations about Gilbert and Kirby whenever the next offseason is. It might be in March for all we know, with the lockout looming. But yeah, Buxton's injury history is a bit of a problem. So I'm interested. I'd give up top prospects for him. I don't think I'd give up Anderson or Emerson. Maybe Sloan, maybe Farmelo, somebody like that, but not Anderson or Emerson.
I could still talk myself into it, I think. I just love Byron Buxton that much.
Oh, he's awesome. He's incredible.
Yeah.
40.
All right. Next trade here from Aiden. Blaze Alexander and Drey Jameson from the Diamondbacks for Luke Raley, Luis Suisbel, Michael Morales, and Christian Little. Drey Jameson, that's someone that you brought up on the Patreon yesterday.
Yep. Pretty decent chance he just gets DFA'd and is out there on waivers at some point this year, this winter. So, decent stuff, decent, prospect profile. Just hasn't really made it work at the big leagues. There's been injuries to worry about as well. To me, the interesting person in this trade is Blaze Alexander, because I think he's a potential Dylan Moore replacement. Yeah. He is a very good athlete. He is a good defender. He is a fast runner, and he's got contact issues. So, yeah, that kind of feels a little bit like a Dylan Moore replacement to me. The current infield for the Diamondbacks is pretty loaded up with Perdomo and Marte and Lawler, and they're going to want Tommy Troy to be in there pretty soon. So I could see them moving Blaze Alexander he just doesn't really fit, and if they can get something somewhere else to help them, I think that makes sense. Does this trade make sense? Like, would you trade Luke Raley for Blaze Alexander straight up? Yeah, I would. I don't know if they would, but I would.
This deal is kind of weird with just like all the stuff involved. I mean, none of it is like prohibitive necessarily. It's just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's almost like overly complicated for what should be a pretty straightforward trade. Like,
yeah.
Blaze Alexander for Luke Raley, that's about fair. Drey Jameson for any one of these three guys, probably more than the Diamondbacks could hope for. But you added all three, like, unless the Diamondbacks really like Blaze Alexander, I think they probably have to take this deal because they're probably DFAing Jameson at some point anyways. But I do wonder, Michael Morales is Rule 5 eligible. I think Suisbel is as well, if I'm not mistaken.
He might be, yeah.
So,
I think so. Like if this deal was just like Raley and Morales for Alexander, I think that would be fine. I think that's like a 55, a 60 there.
60,
yeah. And I don't think it would take. So that said, I don't think it would take Luis Suisbel and Christian Little to get Drey Jameson.
No, probably take one of them. if that. They might just give you Trey Jameson to clear the 40.
You might just get him. You might just get him for cash. So
yeah. So it's a little overly complicated, but I still think this is a good idea. Blaze Alexander as a utility Dylan Moore replacement type, valuable piece off the bench. It's a really good call. So I'm still going to give it a 55. It's just it's a little overly complicated just for the sake of complication. Unless I'm just maybe the Diamondbacks love Blaze Alexander, but I doubt it.
Yeah, maybe. I'll go 50.
Yeah,
50 on it. All right, we will go over more of your trades here in just a moment, but first a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by both FanDuel and Doer. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Sailors, I got to tell you, I love a good pair of jeans, but I'm also very particular about my jeans. I need the fit to be right. If they're blue jeans especially, there's a very particular shade of light blue I'm looking for. And of course, I need them to be comfortable, right? I mean, that's the name of the game. And well, I just got my first pair of jeans from Doer, and they check off every single box. I got the Performance Denim Slims as well as a Pure Pima Vintage Pocket Tee, and they're both getting added to my regular rotation. Doer jeans have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They're antibacterial, meaning your jeans stay fresh longer so you can wear more and wash less. And they're made with CoolMax, which regulates your body temperature and wicks moisture. And Doer combines classic jeans wear with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. So it's the best of both worlds. And Doer are pioneers of blending technical innovation with everyday clothing. They invented the original performance denim. So simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. Trust me, once you try these, they'll be your go-to. Get a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Go now to shopdoer.com/lockedonseattle. You'll get 15% off your first order. That's shop, DUER.com/lockedonseattle for 15% off. Shopdoer.com/lockedonseattle. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen, and also thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. It's Fan Fiction Friday. Let's get back into your trade ideas. Matthew has a deal here with the Red Sox. George Kirby for Patrick Sandoval, Marcelo Mayer, and Kyson Witherspoon. This is fun. I like this one.
Yeah. This is kind of a weird... I don't keep track, right? Like on a spreadsheet, but I feel like just because I'm the one that scrolls through all the trades and picks them, I feel like George Kirby is the most popular name in Fan Fiction Friday of the year so far. Either giving away or, getting back. Like it's either him. Ketel Marte was up there a lot this week. But I think George Kirby is like the most traded asset in the Fan Fiction Friday universe right now. So I think that's
for the first time, like the Brian Reynolds, Ronald Acuna, Jose Ramirez of the Fan Fiction Friday cycle is a Mariner.
Yeah. Which, I mean, cool, whatever. I've talked about trading George Kirby. I think it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could say that about prospects like Harry Ford's come up a billion times on these shows, but like
the last 2 Fan Fiction Fridays, I'm pretty sure George Kirby's name appears more than anybody.
Yeah.
So, interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
My thing is Marcelo Mayer, great prospect. You find room for him, undoubtedly. But like the Mariners probably feel pretty good about their young infield talent.
He's probably your third baseman to start.
Probably. Right.
Yeah.
I think the Mariners, if they're trading George Kirby this winter, they're probably like, give us Roman Anthony or leave us alone. Which honestly I think is fair. Not that this trade isn't also interesting by itself. I think the Mariners would be like, well, we need somebody Like now, Roman Anthony we know is good right now. We want Roman Anthony, especially because we're going to have to go replace Gilbert or Kirby, because Patrick Sandoval's coming off of injury, a season-long injury.
And he got shut down from his recovery mid-season.
Right. So that's risky. And then Kyson Witherspoon, for the same reason, you can't just be like, oh, Kade Anderson is going to, replace George Kirby. You can't say that Kyson Witherspoon. So this still leaves the Mariners extremely vulnerable in the rotation. They'd still have to go out and get George Kirby's replacement in free agency, and that's going to cost money or trade assets. They're going to trade some assets, which if they add Marcelo, and Kyson Witherspoon, they have plenty of to go out and get the replacement. So this is interesting. My hunch is the Red Sox say no, but I don't think they should. I think if you can't get Skubal, right, then this is the next, if Kirby was out there, it's probably the next best arm, him or Joe Ryan, right? Now, I think the Red Sox would probably be like, no, we're not going to give you Mayer. We're not going to give you Anthony. You could have Jarren Duran.
Well, who knows, though? Like, maybe the Red Sox would value Kirby more just because of the club control, right?
Right. 2 extra years over Skubal. Yeah. 1 extra year over Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
But I do think if the Red Sox are going to make a trade for a frontline starting pitcher or whatever, they're going to be peddling Duran as the big piece going back.
Right.
And that makes a little bit of sense for the Mariners. Like if it's Duran and Witherspoon going back to Seattle, maybe they consider that for Kirby. They would probably be like, hey, well, also give us Cutter Crawford. We need a replacement it's very similar to what we talked about last year with Luis Castillo, where it's like, we need a Castillo replacement in the trade or we're not going to do it. And I still, to this day, think the biggest hang-up of last year's Luis Castillo to the Red Sox talks was the fact that the Red Sox would not add Cutter Crawford to whatever the trade package was. And the Mariners wanted that Luis Castillo replacement because they knew that they were going to have to go spend money to replace Luis Castillo if they didn't get the replacement in the trade. And we know that they didn't have a lot of money to spend last winter. So, yeah. But anyways, this trade on its surface, very interesting.
Super interesting.
Yes.
If the Mariners were not in the position that they're in right now, coming off of being 8 outs away from going to the World Series, all that, if they were more fringe wild card contender,
if they lost to Detroit, if they got swept by Toronto,
maybe that, I'd be more into this idea. But yeah, by the way, on Cutter Crawford, he's got knee and wrist things going on right now. Yikes. Yeah.
Right. Brian Bayo, they're going to want a pitcher back that they feel good about starting in 2026.
Yeah.
They're going to trade George Kirby right now.
Yeah. Crawford has a lot of issues. Houck has issues. Sandoval has issues. So
is there a world out there where the Mariners actually land Skubal this winter and they're like, well, now we'll trade George Kirby and replenish some of the prospect capital we lost. And now we'll just, the Red Sox make a ton of sense for Kirby. So yes, there is a world where that scenario plays out, but I think that is the scenario that would have to play out for the Mariners to trade George Kirby this winter.
So I would say this, I really like Marcelo Mayer. I really like Kyson Witherspoon. We talked about him during the summer and how we thought he was a really nice fit for the Mariners, and maybe they would even entertain drafting him at number 3, especially if Anderson didn't fall to him. And Sandoval has been, a solid number 4 when healthy, but again, he's coming off of Tommy John, and you don't know how guys are going to look coming off of that, and he wasn't particularly good in his last full season. But I mean, at times he's even been a number 2. So I don't know. I've always liked Patrick Sandoval. Again, if the Mariners were just in a bit of a different situation than they're in right now, I'd like this more. But man, this is fun. I think I'm still going to give this a 60.
Okay. Well, the realism part of it's going to drag it down a little bit for me. So I think it's probably a 50. And again, Roman Anthony would be the better fit, but also probably the less likely player. And I also think the Red Sox are going to be like, we're not giving you any of those guys. You can have Jarren Duran. And that just doesn't really do it for me for George Kirby. So the trade as it sits, because of where the Mariners are, because of how I think the Red Sox would respond to this offer, I'm going to give it a 50, but it's closer to a 55 than it is a 45.
Jack has a deal here with the Twins. It's for Joe Ryan, not Byron Buxton. So it's Joe Ryan going to Seattle for Felnin, Celesten, Ryan Sloan, and Michael Arroyo. Yeah, that sounds about right for 2 years of Joe Ryan.
Feels like a little bit more than the Red Sox gave up to get Crochet. So
now, to be fair, Crochet was only coming off of 1 year of doing it. He had some concerns about durability and all that.
Sure, but Crochet's 1 year of doing it was like Cy Young caliber. Joe Ryan's entire career is like really good number 3. Mm-hmm. So not apples to apples there, but also Celesten and Sloan certainly have a lot more risk than even a Kyle Teal or a Braden Montgomery. So yeah, I think this is a bit of an overpay, but that might be what it takes to get things done. But I think you're in the ballpark for what it would cost for Joe Ryan. Again, he's a very good pitcher. So probably go 50. I think it's a slight overpay, but ultimately if the Mariners are offering Sloan and Arroyo and they're like, no, we're not doing it without Celesten, I don't really care about losing Felnin Celesten. This is a good prospect, don't get me wrong, but like on the scale of like, oh, I really don't want to trade one of these prospects, he's way down there. If by way down there, I mean like 9th or 10th.
I think this might be on the money, honestly.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go 65.
Why wouldn't you go 80 if you think this is the perfect trade?
I mean, all right.
You think the Mariners say yes? You think the Twins say yes?
I don't think the Mariners
would. The valuation is correct?
I don't think the Mariners would do this. I do think the valuation is correct.
So?
But I don't think the Mariners would do this. So that's why it's a 65.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Coward.
Yeah.
55. I think it's a little bit of an overpay. Like, I don't think the Mariners would do this either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It's solid.
And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon. It's called Control the Zone, and on there we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/Control the Zone. Link in the description of this episode. Our next trade here comes from Alex. Let's deal with the Rays. Harry Ford is involved, as always. I think it's law that Harry Ford has to be involved in any sort of Rays Mariners trade proposal. The comp
this morning.
Yeah, that's true.
Seemed to back it up.
Yeah, there was a report that teams are calling about Harry Ford. So, and the Rays are one of them. The comp round B pick that we're all expecting the Mariners to get awarded is also in this deal. Peete, Teddy McGraw, and Tyler Guff all going to Tampa Bay for Yandy Diaz and Garrett Cleavinger. So we talked about this 2 days ago. Yeah, when we did the AL East preview. It's probably going to take a top 100 prospect to get Yandy Diaz. And I feel like it's going to definitely take a top 100 prospect to get Garrett Cleavinger. But there's only one here. And the comp round B pick isn't close enough, I think, to make up the difference. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think you're one like top 100-ish guy off here.
Yeah, the Rays will sometimes do bulk, but I think if you're going to convince them to trade Cleavinger, because Cleavinger has 4 years of club control left, and he's only going to make about $2 million this year.
Yeah,
you're going to have to, actually pay up that extra prospect. So, yeah, I do think that you're one short here, which whatever, it's an easy fix, but because I just think it's a little bit of an underpay. I based on what I heard they wanted for Yandy last winter, I don't think they're going to take a drastic discount on him. So yeah. I think you need like a Felnin Celesten probably in here. And with the Celesten, you could probably get rid of the comp round B pick and like Teddy McGraw.
Yeah.
So
plus like what you have on the back end here after Ford and the comp round B pick, like who knows what Ty Pete's value is right now? I have
Yeah.
no clue how teams view him right now. Teddy McGraw finally was able to pitch this year. Seems like he's healthy now. Cool, but he hasn't pitched a lot. He's already 24. There's still questions about him and how fast he's going to be able to get to the majors if he ever does get to the majors. And then Tyler Guff is recovering from Tommy John right now. So there's just like a lot of, it's like Harry Ford and then a bunch of lottery tickets because the comp round B pick is also a lottery ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we know that the Rays at some point did like Ty Peete, but do they still?
Yeah.
And I will say McGraw and Guff do feel like Tampa Bay Ray targets.
Sure.
And we know the Rays always love to get pitching back in any trade they make.
Sure.
But yeah, I just think you're a player short here. So I think you're in the right ballpark. I think ultimately it's like Ford and Celesten, and maybe it's Ford, Celesten, and McGraw. Those three for those two probably get you in the conversation. It's possible we're overvaluing Yandy Diaz, but again, just based on what I heard the Rays wanted for him last winter, and the fact that they have had now 3 opportunities to trade him, and they still haven't, tells me that their asking price is ridiculous because there really is no reason for the Rays to hang on to Yandy Diaz. None.
Well, again, like we talked about on Wednesday's show, like right now the hitter market, the rental hitter market has been set at what Gino and Naylor went for, but that was just for a couple of months of those guys. So what does the extra half year of Yandy Diaz do for his value? Does that actually get him to the point that we were kind of expecting Gino to be at, to cost at least like one top 100-ish guy? I feel like yes. I feel like that's like the safe assumption to make. And then if it's anything lower than that, then great. But yeah, like right now, I would just assume that like Yandy Diaz is going to cost a top 100 guy. And then for Cleavinger, again, because like he's a lefty, strikes out a lot of guys. He's only going to cost you like $2 million this year. He's under a ton of club control still, which doesn't really matter for relievers in the end, but still, it's something to at least note here. Like that probably should also cost at least another top 100-ish guy, right? So yeah. So I just feel like you were off to a good start with Harry Ford, and like the comp round B pick makes sense here. But it's like after that, I just don't think it really makes up enough of the ground for getting both of these guys. So I'm going to go like 40 on it.
Yeah, I go like 45. Like I said, you're in the ballpark, but I think you're placing too much value in the top round B pick.
All right, we got another trade here from Aiden, and oh boy. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's unpack here.
I actually I knew this trade was coming. I didn't read all of it though, and now I am, and wow. Okay. So Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth are going to Seattle in this deal, which all right. That's a lot to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Luis Castillo, Randy Arozarena, Kade Anderson, Jonny Farmelo, Michael Arroyo, and Harry Ford going to San Diego.
So would you say the realism on this one's towards like the 80 part of the scale? Yeah,
yeah, totally. Yeah. It's definitely on one extreme end of the spectrum for sure. I'll say that. I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with this. Like, I'm at a loss for words.
Sure. So look, Fernando Tatis was brought up by Bob Nightingale as the guy who might get traded this winter. Do I think the Padres are going to trade him this winter? No. Do I think he's going to play that entire contract in San Diego? Also, no. So, in fact, the Padres have painted themselves into such a corner with their payroll that they're considering selling the team. Like they went way over what they need. They took out loans, which Major League Baseball hated, by the way, to cover payroll and all that. Like they just don't have the ownership group or the market size to support the top 5 payroll that they had ran for like 3 years, and then all the penalties on top of that as well for being over the luxury tax and whatnot. So they're going to have to shed salary, and obviously Tatis is a guy who can actually get you something, whereas nobody is going to take on a majority of the contract of Manny Machado, even though he's still a pretty good player, or Xander Bogaerts, or Yu Darvish. Like, this is it. Like, this is the guy. Cronenworth and Tatis are the guys. And Cronenworth, in a grand scheme of things, trading him, really only a drop in the bucket. So that's why Bob Nightingale put him out there. I know that on Brock and Salk, they talked a little bit about it the other day as well. So I'm guessing that's why Tatis, we got a couple Tatis trades. And we did mention him yesterday, barely, on the trade preview. So I don't think he's going to get traded this winter. But if he is available, should the Mariners have interest? And the answer is yes. Of course,
absolutely. The problem is they won't. They won't.
No.
Because this is the trade that like the Dodgers do, the Yankees do. Like that's what those teams do, not the Seattle Mariners.
The Yankees do. They lose in the ALDS. You know who doesn't do that? The Seattle Mariners. So they wait till the ALCS to lose.
Right.
Yeah. So like I think just to try and like work in the process here, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Castillo and Tatis, their salaries are pretty much the same this year, so that's a wash. But obviously, the Padres save a ton on the back end of Tatis's contract. Cronenworth is less expensive than Randy Arozarena, but Arozarena is a free agent after this year, and Arozarena gives you a decent replacement for Tatis's offensive production, like at least somewhere in the ballpark of it. So I think that's part of this as well. And then it's like, so Castillo is just offsetting the salary of Tatis for this year. So what does Fernando Tatis cost you? Kade Anderson, Jonny Farmelo, Michael Arroyo, and Harry Ford for 9 years and $280 million or whatever it is of Fernando Tatis Jr. To say this is a complicated trade is to put it lightly. Yeah.
My grade is that's my grade.
This was really here, guys, so we could talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. He's not getting traded this winter. I highly doubt it, to say the least. I think it's significantly lower than like Skubal or Ketel Marte getting traded.
Oh, significantly. Right. Yeah.
But again, just file the name away in the back of your head. I think maybe not this year, maybe next winter after the lockout or the winter after. Tatis Jr. becomes a real idea. It's really the last 5 years of the contract where you're going to be paying him $37 million a year. Where it's like, is he going to be worth that? Maybe. He's only 27.
Yeah.
But also, do you care if you get 5 years of like below market value of Tatis? Do you care about the last 4 years?
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. What a way to end that show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For Colby Patnode, I'm Titan Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Titan Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.